Up that we're live.
Oh,
yet.
okay.
Oh, here we go.
We're doing the audio check.
There we go.
We have audio
We sure do.
on studios. It's episode 69 minus 4.
Yeah. 69 minus 4. We'll let you do the math on that.
Yeah.
You
Yep.
should be able to handle it. Oh, wow. We got all kinds of people popping in now.
We got Denmark.
Ludens-
Europe.
Ludenson.
Yes. Marcia's waiting for us this
Wow.
morning. Oh, waiting.
Since this morning. Wow.
We
okay.
are thrilled. We are thrilled. So we'll jump right into this. What does that DeFranco say? Let's just jump into it.
Let's just jump into it. Yeah.
I like that's one of the channels I do follow some of the DeFranco stuff. Anyways, just stick it in the cloud. Is that where I wanted to start? I can't remember.
Well, no, actually, we were going to start with clients to avoid.
Clients to avoid.
Because that will lead into the cloud.
It'll all lead into the cloud.
Yeah.
It'll all lead into the cloud. Side note in errata, it's really difficult to sit in this chair right now because right over there is my motorcycle that I rode here because it's damn nice out.
It finally it's 73 here.
Yeah.
Finally.
Which, by the way, it was snowing 2 days ago.
I think it was snowing this morning, technically.
Yeah. So we have seen a rapid raise in temperature. So we're super happy about that. But we're still here doing the live. We're a little bit late because I have had a nightmare of VMs. I've been in VM hell. So 85. Woo, someone's in a warmer place than us. Nope. So yeah, we have clients to avoid is a good topic. Someone emailed me about it, but I said, I don't think I've covered that. In my advice for the person, I think I did reply to them, but is possibly be very careful and stay away from those clients. So one of the warning signs, and this is something that you're going to see a lot as a technician, is, can't you just load these licenses? Can't you just load this pirated copy of this thing? We'll maybe get it later. There's a lot of warning signs for clients to avoid.
That being a big one.
It's easy to jump on the bandwagon and blame the other IT guy, but we've come in and bid on clients and sometimes even taken them on before we realized the problem was not the other IT guy. The problem was they simply refused to spend any money on anything. So we do small projects for them, not necessarily managed client. And that's like warning signs, especially if they spend a lot of time bashing the other IT guy, just calling him a moron and things like that. You got to always take the good with the bad of, did he have a budget to make anything right? And this is like a huge concern. And these are things you really got to look at about clients. Like you got to get in there and go, all right, what are the warning signs? Look around the place. Is a disaster. That's a sign that there might be a problem.
Are they using a stack of papers as a mouse pad?
Yeah.
That's something.
Yeah. Clients who are super disorganized. And I hate to say it, but we've been into some real problematic offices. There's I won't say any of the names of the companies, but we've gone into some of them that they are just pack rats and hoarders of stuff everywhere. And they're super difficult to deal with because of that, because just everything about them from top to bottom, not just their interaction with you, their interaction with them as a company is hard to do. Looking up reviews on a company, that's actually, if you're going to pick them as a client, do they have a whole bunch of negative reviews? I mentioned the client before. We drove through picket lines to go deal with them.
Yeah.
We make that client prepay because they're such a pain in the butt. Yes, people have been picketing outside their place, so we came to fix your repairs. Is turn up the amount. And me and Mark were talking about this, one of our transportation clients. He didn't really want a job because of a pain in the ass client. This doesn't just apply to IT. This applies to business in general. So he tripled the rate. He says, no one would pay this much to me to haul this freight. He goes, God damn it. I'd wanted to be done with them. Right. I thought tripling the rate was enough that you don't want to do business with me. He goes, and they're still doing business with me. He goes, that was my way of picket line. He keeps paying the raised rates, and it's because he's difficult. Yeah. There's nothing ever easy. And you kind of have to account for that with them because it's not just the work. It's not just going there to the client. It's the management time that becomes dealing with them, chasing them for the money and everything else. Mm-hmm. This is something Marvin had to deal with yesterday in a funny way. I'm just glad I skated out of that. Friends we know, and they all came in here and they all surrounded Marvin. And next thing you know, I got aggravated at some point because, not really aggravated, but it's one of those things like, is this billable? Because you guys, I know you need tech support, but now what they did was they brought one thing, another thing, and then they brought in their friends and they invited them all here.
And their friends all brought other things. And
yeah, there was like 5 of them here and Marvin in the middle at this table. And there's just like stuff everywhere. You're like,
because I'm the Apple guy.
See, because Marv knew Apple.
And sup, the Alpha Nerd.
The Alpha Nerd. I love it.
He said sup, Marv. So sup, the Alpha Nerd.
So, I mean,
Yeah,
these are
that
a
was
lot of
lots
warning
of
signs.
fun.
Now, it's hard when you're starting out and
Excuse Tom while he gets a phone call.
I get a phone call every Thursday because my son somehow manages to not remember a lunch, and then he borrows money from school. And this happens on Thursdays.
So they need to call and say,
they need to call at
hey,
5 and say,
hey, you owe us money.
You owe us money. Your kid, you
need to
don't
pay
pay.
up.
Yeah. Fun times.
Yeah.
So, anyways,
Yeah. So don't take those clients.
don't take those clients. Yeah, and a little side note to that, especially with the licenses and things like that. I don't know where the liabilities are in terms of other places. If they get busted for not having licenses, they may even shift the blame to you. You may have liabilities depending on where you're at. The fact that you were aware that they were doing illegal things.
Well, that was going to be my question. What is the liability if you take a client on who already had pirated licenses?
Yeah.
Do you have a case to say, listen, we didn't know?
What
is our liability on that?
Yeah, and I don't really know. I mostly run away from those clients because I try. Well, and I don't say run away from them. I tell them they have to get in compliance for me to have them as a client. It sucks, and it's not a lot I can do about it. But I learned something from a friend. He's had a photography studio, and he did this even in the early days of his studio. When he said he could barely afford milk. So he said, and he had a bride, they do wedding photography, and a bride, and the bride was making notes on his contract, and he's looking at her. Big wedding contract. He sells very expensive weddings. He also gave me a great piece of business advice because I said, man, how did you get to charging $4,000 for just taking photos at a wedding? And he kind of leans in and goes, I'll tell you my secret. He goes, I told him it was $4,000. Business isn't as hard as you think, Tom.
Yeah.
This is when I was much younger, and I'm like, that's how it works.
Yeah.
So if you want to know how we got a job for $60,000, because we told him it cost $60,000 to do the job. There's some of that in there. I won't lie.
Yeah.
But what he actually done was when the bride started making a bunch of notes on the contract, even though he really needed the money, he's like, look, there's bills to pay. And it was in his early days of photography. He just slid it. He goes, let me see that contract quick. Slid it there, and he ripped it right in half. And when he did that,
gutsy.
She stared at him, and he's like, it was a risky moment because do I lose the client? Do I keep the client? And she goes, wow. He goes, apparently I'm not the photographer. If you can't deal with my contract the way I wrote it and the way it is, then apparently you don't want me as your photographer. Oh, no, I really want you. I'm fine. Just the way you have it then. And they end up cutting him a check, and life went on. But those are times. There's times when it's not going to work out, and it's sometimes you're upset. You're like, look, I tried everything. We have a couple big bids we did for clients. We did everything we could. We just didn't get it. I second guessed it a little bit, but ultimately you have to move on. And it's like you have to
get paid what you're worth. That's just what it comes down to. If the client doesn't see that you're worth that, well, that's their business. I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's their downfall.
Yeah. And you run into clients that have license compliance issues because they were ill-informed from previous IT, or in the case of one of them we just talked to, the IT guy was charging them for licenses and not doing it. So they were out of compliance, but it was completely not their fault. So,
Eddie, I'm going to assume it's Theta. He said if they won't pay for a simple Windows license or software in general, then imagine how they do business. That is a great point.
Yep. Point well taken.
That goes right to it, to the issue. Yep.
Yeah. And like I said, it's if you look at one aspect, if there's papers or there's a giant mess or something like that, there's other problems with that business. If you find that they have all 1-star gurus, if you pull up and there's a picket line blocking your entrance to the business,
probably some shady business things
there's
going
things
on.
happening. Those are all good warning signs for it.
Yeah.
So you just take into account. Then take into account the other part of the question that was emailed to me, but that I thought was really important was they said they didn't want to compensate for after hours, and you have to get compensated at some point. You don't live on the clock for them, so that's definitely an issue. You don't live on the clock for them, and if you are on the clock for them, you get paid dearly for it. When I worked in corporate, I was on the clock. That was fine. I was paid very well for being on the clock. That was something I did very well. And I thought I was well compensated. I was not unhappy with the pay rate. And I didn't mind answering the phone. If the phone rang at 2 a.m., Tom answered the phone at 2 a.m. There was a paycheck that also compensated Tom for opening a phone at 2 a.m.
There is
So
that.
There's a
big thing.
But those are just little things I wanted to cover. Really, that you do keep an eye out for those and things like that. Now, onboarding a client, and this goes kind of hand in hand with this, usually through your discovery process, when you get on there, people use checklists, people use that. It's hard because not every client is exactly the same. Unless you focus on a single vertical market, then you can kind of cookie cutter the checklist, because if it's a doctor's office, okay, they got compliance, they got this. A new client for us has a foreign trade zone. So they have a whole different ones. And we have other ones that have CPAT, which is the is it TSA? I don't know. It's more freight things and laws and compliance things. So it's not just that you got to think about any compliance. Also, sometimes that is part of the questionnaire is, are they compliant? Are there anything I have to do with my staff? So some of the onboarding questions are just general like that. It's not necessarily that we have to run down a checklist. But the part of the discovery process that's important is we don't really charge a lot like an onboarding fee. We almost always, I don't think I've ever taken on a client that wasn't a project, because no one just hands you clean IT. They got rid of the other guy for a reason. There was something that was awry. That's generally what goes on to lead into why they're calling you for IT. So the onboarding process, almost always there's something there. So you spend a little bit of time on discovery, you spend a little time looking at all their stuff and go, all right, what do we got here? And but sometimes we put tags on things. Basically, we make a list like that server, that thing's really old, got blinky red lights on it. And hey, thank you very much. Ryan, I'm gonna let him say the last name. Thank you, Ryan.
Bijole. Ryan, thank you very much, Ryan.
But when you're doing that, sometimes we look at some things and we're like, all right, do you want to deal with this project now? This is a thing we can't just cover for you, because this thing is like a time bomb. And so there's a lot of that goes on, that you kind of tag it along and say, we want you to fix this project, but this server, unless you're ready to replace it. And we had a client, we actually onboarded them managed services a year ago, but they're not like most of our managed services we sell are hybrid, which means they pay kind of a minimum for us to manage it. It's kind of the best of both worlds, I think, for the client and for us. They pay us a monthly fee for management and things like that. And we take care of patching. We take care of like the general things that need to be taken care of, updates. And we have a rule that if they call in less than 15 minutes, phone calls are free. So we don't bill them out. We don't nickel and dime them. But then we bill on project. And that's in addition to their managed services. And a managed services obviously gives us visibility into their network. So we kind of are ahead on a lot of things. We know servers, we know loads on servers. We know when things are okay, this thing's pinned out all the time, it's time to replace it. But that being said, things that weren't covered, for example, is their ancient server, and we're like, you really need to get that thing gone. And finally it died. Kind of. They got it back up, we got it back up and running. And that's when that proposal, like, can you revise that proposal you go 2 months ago? We think we really are ready for it now. So yeah, so that's that finally came to fruition. We got them, and it turns out it took as much as 12 hours for each single VM to get off the old server. Granted, this is a really old, I mean, this server is like from 2007 or something like that. It's running, I don't know exactly what year, but I know it's running Zen version 5, which I mean,
what's the current version?
7.4. I know. Well, there's a lot of incrementals in between.
Right.
So I may do a video on how we had to transfer to VMs, because you can't tie the new Zen, you can't tie the new Zen server in to the old Zen server because there's too many versions in between it. I couldn't do Zen Motion just to transfer the files. So when we built them in a new server, we had to do some trickery. And I may do a video on the trickery I had to do, because we had tried a lot of clever things and none of them worked until I found one that did. I don't know why I didn't think of it the first time, but either way, it's better now and it's working. We still have one more VMware machine to merge in. They have one really nice machine for running all their VMs, and then we're having a storage server put in that's going to be a backup for it. So it's a whole nice little project and things like that. But it's one of those things you have to go in there and tag it. So like, we'll take care of all your workstations. We'll take care of these servers that are newer, but we work a lot with automotives. By the way, all these servers are 2003 Windows servers. So they're really, it's a whole series of them, because they're special Oracle databases that run special software that manage warehousing and trucking. And that being said, they don't run on newer servers. The upgrade is $180,000 in software licenses to get the new version. But the old version, they are licensed and proper on.
Yeah.
So they virtualized everything a while back, and they still support it. It's all on a separate network, separate lockdown they keep for security reasons. So they have a fairly intricate network setup, but these are things you run into in the automotive world. You have to support these legacy systems. They just don't see the need to buy because it's an infrastructure upgrade as well. That's the server licenses for the software. And then there's all this infrastructure, the scan guns, the label printers, all of it's older, but works. They have lots of spares. It's a major overhaul, $250,000 overhaul to do everything. And in teaching an entire warehouse full of people a new process.
Yeah, right.
And it works fine. There's nothing wrong with it. It's a completely functioning Windows 2003 server that does everything that they wanted to do. They don't have any complaints. So yeah, that's the fun of supporting some of these things.
Yeah.
But
we had a couple of questions, but Eddie jumped in and helped us out. So
thank you, Eddie.
Thanks, Eddie. And I believe he said earlier, is it Fada? Something like that. Hi, Paul. We have several viewers from the UK. Apparently, we're huge in the UK.
We are huge in the UK.
Just tell them don't install extensions. Well, that is that's getting right to the source. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's getting right to the source there. Just stick it in the cloud.
Just stick it in.
Just stick it in. Just stick it in the cloud. So someone made that comment on one of my videos. I can't believe you run anything self-hosted. You should just stick it all in the cloud. And yeah, that makes a lot of sense, right?
Sure.
Great discussion. So through a series of happenstance and where I was Saturday night, I happened to meet a guy, and he happens to run the Linux farm for a very large automotive tier 1. And we had a great discussion. And basically, the sales reps, they all came in and they sold him on the cloud. And he's in graybeard of been doing the Linux stuff. They have a Linux farm, SUSE with AIX systems. It's a mixed systems. But anyways, they stuck it all in the cloud without a great plan. And now they got the bill. And they're up to a substantial monthly bill. So now they're actually bringing it back down from the cloud because it realized the cloud was just so much money. And to give you an idea of the scope and scale, just the new server upgrade this month for him, he's spending $1.3 million on the new servers for a new project. And they're putting them in their, they have 2 data centers here in roughly in the same area where they do, because we do everything here in Detroit. So they do have redundancy, and they have fiber between and linked to the data centers and everything else. But that being said, it's interesting because it's like, we realize $1.3 million is a lot for the servers, but our monthly cloud fee is just insane. I know one of them told me, because they got sold on a lot of the Azure stuff and the Cosmo DB, they jumped all in as soon as that came out with the Cosmo DB. And they're like, our database bill's $38,000 a month now or something. They're just like, the salespeople didn't tell us. So it's like
Paul said, cloud is like houses. It's cheap to squat, expensive to live.
Yes.
Oh, and buongiorno in Italia.
Oh, right.
From Italy. All right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's one of those things. I mean, there's certain things in, like, we use Google Docs. I don't mind certain cloud-based services that are very reasonably priced. And I think that's what we're going to see, like the excitement over the cloud, and companies that just want to jump on the latest and greatest thing means let's put it over there. And then they pitch you on predictable cost models and your bottom line. That's awesome until you're actually dealing with the predictable cost models and bottom line. And you're like, yeah, now this got a little bit rough because the recurring revenue of $35,000 a month going to this. And it's an asset I can't depreciate over time. I can't move it from the balance sheet and depreciate and get a tax credit on there. So it also has other implications about that. So that we found it was a great discussion with him because he's doing it at much, much larger scale than I am, but it was really cool. We also had a fun discussion. So my friend works for the hospitals, and did I tell you about the truck of data?
No.
So part of their, they have a very in-depth disaster recovery plan, which he thought was cool. Part of the disaster recovery plan isn't just the linked data lines between the multiple data centers, but they keep a truck at the ready to drive the data to the second data center because they can't copy it fast enough because it's in the medical industry and they have that many x-rays and everything. So they're going to actually take the data and they will load the data on copies because they have 2 copies at each data center. So they get trucks at each data center. So if one of the data centers has some major catastrophe, so they have a different offsite backup because it's just, I don't know how many terabytes of data, but it's absolutely immense.
So you could really have fun, like with somebody and be like, you have to load the data on the truck.
You have to put the data on the truck.
You have to load the data on the truck.
Load the data
on the truck and then drive it over. The new guy'd be like, that doesn't make any sense. I'm not doing that. Wow, that's interesting. So
yeah.
But then what happens if the truck gets in an accident on the way over?
I don't know.
Oh, see, you got all these things to think about.
All these things to think about.
That's gonna be. I guarantee you that's gonna be in the next Jason Bourne or Mission Impossible movie.
Mission Impossible movie. So that's been fun. On a good note, a lot of the projects we've wanted to do have approved. So I actually had to slow down making videos because I had to do work like an adult. Yeah, I know. I'm hoping it leads to hiring more people. So we're hoping that moves forward. The other project, I've not been back to film as much, but that's a mess right now. Of time schedules changed a lot. So I talked about that in a video. We've gotten more wires pulled, and on the same day I was doing big VM transfers. I got tied up doing, so I couldn't go be filming and showing them pulling wires. But we're going to go there to film a bunch of other stuff because we got all the cameras coming in. It's a Unify system being put in, so we're going to cover some of you saw on that. So we'll have some Unify videos, we'll have some Unify Wi-Fi.
Usually schedule changes go the other way. It's like, oh, we're delayed. We can't get in there to finish a thing or, whatever. Now, all of a sudden the GC is like, yeah, that stuff you were using is going to be out of here next week. So you got to get all your stuff done.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh, all right.
Yep.
What are you going to do?
Yeah. What are you going to do? Charge them $1,600 a month recurring for people that provide the service. Need to manage the environments. Full stop really makes. Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of different options on there how you want to bill them and things like that. But there's a lot of this stuff is all in the wind, and we're trying to consolidate it so I can make more videos. If I wonder if I could hire someone to follow me around like Gary Vaynerchuk has and just make videos about me.
Yeah, Matey with a name with a lot of consonants in it says, "Thanks for the content, guys. Very nice, new and smart." You're welcome.
Thank you. So. I do have more videos coming on a lot of the stuff. And I actually have recorded a lot of them that I haven't got a chance to just pull through the footage and put it together. We actually started a project because we had a lot of fun doing it for testing. So we're doing, I don't have it approved yet, so I won't release everything because I know we're bidding against other people possibly. But we have a fun a series of site-to-site Wi-Fis.
That was fun.
What we did do though, and we didn't film it yet, but we're going to do it again and actually film it, was we meshed cars together, not mashed them together, but meshed them together with Unify meshes. Because we're going to be putting a bunch of Unifys on a water in a harbor, and they're going to be scattered around a harbor to provide boat Wi-Fis. So we actually meshed together a series of Wi-Fis with our cars, because we ain't boat rich yet.
No, not quite yet.
We ain't got no boats.
No, but we're rich enough to have a car with a 110 plug in it, though.
Yes, we are fancy enough for that.
We're getting there.
Marvin's car is. My car is not. My car is old.
Leasing is a wonderful thing.
Leasing is a wonderful thing.
Hey. So we plugged that in, put them in, and then I drove that way, and we went and we saw how far we could go and still have a signal, and we actually got pretty far.
And we love XCP-NG. I have started and then got interrupted 3 times trying to make I started this morning. I was really trying to make a video. And it was a goal. Yeah. And because I was working on some more XCP-NG videos because we just updated to the latest version of an orchestra, and we were going to cover how the community edition works and some details. We're huge fans of the software. We're looking forward to your next release.
Maybe let us know ahead of time.
Yeah.
We'll be glad to, test some things.
Test it out. Yeah, we got 2 servers running it now. My backup server here and my home server equipment. Stuff that's not mission critical, but really it's been so stable. The XCP-NG is a replacement for the Citrix product for those of you that just got excited and want to talk about them.
Eddie wants to know if he can apply for a position. You want to follow Tom around and record things?
Follow me around and record things. It's the only position I know that's open. It doesn't pay anything though.
No, you'll get chickens. You'll get
great.
And chickens and hot sauce.
And John Sand says he'll see what we can do about getting this position. So
all right.
Yeah, I haven't found any problems. I mean, I didn't bother. I know some people had a bug report on something. I know there's a couple spots where it says Citrix, but I think you guys know that. That's not even worth filing. But functional wise, it's worked excellent. We haven't had any crashes, haven't had any problems. It's been, I do have one, but I can't consistently reproduce that. I will comment. I'll make an actual bug report, but basically if I have a storage repository, sometimes you just have of ISOs, you have to disconnect and reconnect it to get the new ISOs to show up. I can't do it every time, but sometimes it just says the refresh button doesn't do it. I disconnect, reconnect. That's the only, it's such a minor issue and it's not easily reproducible. And it may be something on our network, but I don't know. The only other issue, and I don't think this is your issue, this is a Citrix issue, is if you build a VM in XCP-NG 7.4 and try to export it to Citrix 7.4, it fails. But we're going to be doing the opposite. We're going to be exporting from Citrix and into XCP-ng, so I don't really see that as a big issue. And I'm pretty sure it just has something to do with the way Citrix recognizes it as maybe a newer version, and it doesn't do it. But it also doesn't give an error. I don't have an error to go off of. It just doesn't import with no error. It just sits there forever. Yeah. It never imports. I don't know. I don't care. We're moving away from Citrix. We're just waiting for you guys to come out of beta. And that's all.
Yep. Eddie, we did say that we were looking to hire some more staff. We will let you know as soon as we're ready to do that. How about that?
Yeah.
We're not quite ready just yet, but we'll let you know. And Paul had a question earlier. He said, I have a question for you guys, if okay. pfSense or Sophos UTM home VM?
I have just not done much with Sophos to give you an honest opinion of it. I'm a massive pfSense fan because I trust it. It's a solid product. I've actually used Sophos products back in the early 2000s. One of the early mail servers I built, Sophos was my go-to because they have really good Linux support for mail filtering back when that was a really big deal for scanning email attachments and things like that. On a SendMail server, Sophos had like the best product out there for it. But I haven't really used Sophos anything since then. Like, I mean, it's been 10, 12 years. So I can't offer a good opinion on Sophos. Some people seem to like it, but I'm a huge fan, though, like I said, of the why don't we use mail server at the shop, fellas? That's a waste of time. So yeah, I don't have a lot of strong opinion on the Sophos stuff. I'm a bigger fan of the Netgate stuff. That's why there's even more Netgates over here. Just out of camera range is more of these. So, yeah, there it is. Look at it. Oh,
yeah. Oh, it's it has a tail.
It has a tail. I like it because you can hold it by its tail because it screws in and doesn't slide out. I did that in my review. This is getting delivered. It's programmed for a client.
Netgate switches were harmed in the making of this video.
I took them apart.
You held it by the tail.
No warranties were voided in the making of this video.
Held it by the tail.
So, yeah, the biggest problem with the mail server at the shop, this comes up every now and then. Do I have a personal mail server for the hell of it? Yeah. The problem, like we're dealing with right now, honestly, the email war is over. It's done. It's finished. You either have Google or Office 365. Sorry, I don't have a better answer.
Coke and Pepsi.
Coke and Pepsi.
Get used to it.
It's come down to two. Do I like it? I don't know. I don't have an opinion. I'm not influential enough in the market to even for my opinion to matter. The problem with running a mail server is getting emails out and dealing with all the spam coming in. It has been solved by Google and it has been solved minimally by Microsoft, but definitely Google has better spam filtering. Microsoft, you generally need some type of spam filter in front of it. But that being said, once you start doing that, it's just such a pain in the butt because right now we're dealing with a client who can't get email from our web form because it's being blocked. Or we'll end up with some of the other problems. And they have problems being blocked because they're not on G Suite and their accounting firm is, and so they can't get emails consistently to their account. They just kind of come and go. And it's troubleshooting. It's really difficult. And once they move over, they're like, oh, look, the problem went away. And it's the problem with using some of these smaller companies for hosting. That's why we got out of the mail business. I used to be in it. I used to host a bunch of people's email. I used to host the servers and everything directly using Postfix. And I was amazing at doing proc mail. If any of you are familiar with that, I could write proc mail recipes and I would just, it was great. And then, it just became so much work and for so little money because Google hosts it for $5 a month per user and gives you a bunch of features. Yeah. So Charlie likes to message us.
Good day, Charlie.
He always starts with good day. That's how I know it's him.
Good day.
Charlie Brown AU. So let's see. What's your view on Wire instead of Skype, Facebook, and Gabble instead of Twitter, and Protomail instead of Gmail? So all those are fun. Emails, Protomail, if you're not familiar, is a company that's done an interesting way of securing your mail. To an extent, email itself is not secure. If you really want secure email, use PGP. You don't want to rely on the email transport to be encrypted. Those are all add-ons. So what you do is you encrypt with a PGP key. And if you're not familiar with PGP, you can set your public key so people can get your public key and then send you a file and you can decrypt it with your private key. You can Google how to do that. And there's different applications to do it. So basically you would send a encrypted attachment. The mail companies still get metadata about you because they realize I'm emailing Marvin, but they have no idea the contents of it. So it becomes encrypted transports. Protomail's got a neat way. I think they did as good as they could to create a secure email system, but LeVar, I think it's LeVar Levinson, he had the mail company eludes me right now, but it's the same problem. Eventually, the government wants the keys to an encrypted mail. And once you start trusting one of those, there's a problem.
You know what? I'm seeing a business opportunity here. We will load your email onto a truck.
Yeah, and drive it over to someone.
Drive it over and deliver it, taking every step possible to make sure that it does not fall into the wrong hands.
So the only reason, and I did a video this morning about Signal, because secure messaging with the Zuckerberg, which we'll end on that. I'm gonna talk about him a little bit. Maybe, I don't know.
We should. We
probably should comment on it. I mean, poor Zuck, he had to sit around explaining technology to old people who don't get it.
Oh my goodness,
it was bad. Anyways, so secure messaging is obviously a concern. Signal, I like them. They've been vetted by security researchers, which is an important point. That's the point I made in there. Just because I can't decipher the gibberish that you have come up with and you say it's secure, and I look at it, I can't figure it out. You made it difficult to figure out. Therefore, I guess it's secure. Best security is vetted security, not security that no one has broke. And that's a claim like some of them have made. Oh, no one's broke our security, so we're awesome. No.
Yes.
Has anyone tested your security? And this is some of the things of the pwn-to-own competitions that come out, was that's when they get tested and these people get paid for the exploits. That's when we know security is being done right. When we know that high-end security researchers who are great at their job poke away at a product, and that's when we know, that something's important when it's actually been done. That's the important part. If no one's vetted it, it's not secure at that point. So yeah. What do we use for website? We're right now we're on A2 hosting. For those of you wondering, that's our back end.
Charlie asked another question.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry that probably the best anonymous thing you can sign up for, because you don't want to give your phone number. Signal uses your phone number as authentication. If you don't want to give it to them, you can get a burner phone. There's an option. You can get a SIP phone, by the way. So if you find a SIP provider, if you really want to be anonymous, find a SIP provider that will allow you to get a phone number through some non-tied to you payment method, or create a fake, I don't know, come up with your way of paying them but it needs a phone number that can receive SMS or phone call to authenticate. But once you do that, you don't need the phone. So Signal needs some type of authentication method, because if not, how would I know who you are? Outside of that, there is Ring, Riot, and a couple others that are full anonymous transports for doing anonymous stuff. The biggest problem is if you get too anonymous, no one knows who you are, and it's a whole different issue. It's hard to find the person. Signal, I think, is a good compromise because, well, at least here in the US, I can't speak for everywhere, but I think a lot of places, everyone has a phone number assigned to them.
Charlie asked, is Ting a SIP provider?
No. Well, okay. Ting's a cell phone company, so technically they aren't a direct SIP provider, but they're a cell provider. So if you went and got something like Ting, and I mean, there's different options you can do. You can even use, I don't know where they stand on this. Google Voice numbers might work. I don't know.
Eddie suggests carrier pigeon.
Carrier pigeons, great way to do it.
Absolutely.
Those things are damn trainable too.
Yeah. Send a raven.
Raven's way cooler than pigeons.
Absolutely.
In terms of things. So,
Google Voice and Hangouts. Trackcraft said Google Voice Hangouts. Are you asking? Are you suggesting? Are you telling?
I would say that they probably work. Google Voice Hangouts should work.
Who are we going to end up using? Ryan wants to know.
Oh, who are we in? So we're using right now for my phone service. I'm on Google Fi. This is for my cell phone. For our business service, we're getting into the phone side a little bit more. Because we want to resell some of this to our clients. So we actually went with a direct SIP provider. I can talk to Chris from Crosstalk, ask him if you're looking to sign up direct with a SIP provider. He's got links and stuff like that. I can't remember the name of it. It's like, I don't know. It doesn't matter. Chris from Crosstalk, it's the one he recommends because that's who advised me how to do a lot of this stuff. I have a video. I made some audio mistakes with it. Chris helped me set up my free PBX. So I contract him to do that. And I got to do a video with him to get that done. So drop bears much faster in Australia. Okay.
Well, but their mascot is a koala. So,
but we are
props.
We are going. Someone suggested. So we talked about free PBX last time. We're almost done with programming it. I've just been busy with other projects. One of the other things why we're going with free PBX. It's open source, free, or not free, but hosted internally. We bought just like a couple licenses to make the phones easier to program. We have some fun trickery we're going to be doing with it. We're looking at, like Slack integration and everything else. And once you buy, because we're going to be buying direct from a SIP provider, it's really, really inexpensive at that point. The reason it's inexpensive is because it takes a lot more skill to set it up, and we're managing internally all the trunking portion of it. So the inbound, outbound calling routes, the way the phones are dialing, everything, because we're the ones designing and implementing all that internally, as opposed to just paying someone like RingCentral. Now, we've been using RingCentral for a while, and we don't hate them or anything, but for the more advanced things and things we're expanding in to do, it just isn't as good a fit. So we're moving away from RingCentral. But like, I have a few clients that are one-man shows, consultants. RingCentral is still a great deal for them. It adds all the features they want, and they're working from home anyway, so those deals work out. So RingCentral still has a place. It's just not for us anymore. Then someone suggested someone who was a RingCentral competitor. I'm like, it puts us they're just RingCentral with a different name. Is when I looked at it, I'm like, it doesn't offer me any benefits and doesn't solve any of the problems that we want to do, like having an open source self-managed phone system. So
now Phil says he looks forward to the free PBX videos. He's in the middle of going down that route. So.
Yeah, no, I like it. So far it's been really good configuring it, setting up. We have really funny voicemails on it right now.
Yeah, I got several voicemails the other day that was just, "Hey, you can ignore this. I'm testing something."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Great. I'm just in a meeting and my phone is ringing constantly. Don't worry about it."
FlowRoute's another one. FlowRoute's another provider. I have a few friends that use FlowRoute. They recommended that to me. I went with the one Chris recommended because Chris was helping me with some of this and he had a referral link for me. But the other one that is FlowRoute is really popular. A few people recommended that and said it was great. So
are you reading?
Yeah, I'm trying to read that. Totally off topic. Has anyone ever had issues with the Data Traveler Kingston? Nope. I can't say specifically because I haven't tried that particular brand that I recall. I almost always get the SanDisk Pro, I think they are. Mm-hmm. Those are the ones we usually buy because one of my FreeNAS videos, we did that because we put pairs of them and mirror them together for our FreeNAS builds. So the project though, the giant build out, I will cover this. This is, as much as I want to be honest with you, I'll be honest, I was angry yesterday, wasn't I?
A little bit.
Yeah, it's like, you guys kind of screwed this up and we're going to unscrew it right now. So what happened was, and this goes back to some of our earliest talk, don't let the client change the scope of your project slowly and then not think about that. Oh yeah, the back end has to change. It supports all that. And maybe someone says yes too much. Maybe one of the staff members said yes. And then I said, well, now my ass is on the line for the yeses. Now solve the problem.
Yeah.
And
it was not me, by the way.
That wasn't him.
It was not me.
Not him.
I just got to help fix it.
Yeah, he got to help fix it. So sometimes you do that, and it's really hard to describe without just going through every little detail. But in short of it is, one little change on the way an installation was going to go with some of the wiring actually caused a back end change that wasn't thought about. So when they're in a rush to order equipment, which by the way, this is how the calamity happens. The dates got moved from 3 weeks out to next week that we have to be out of there with all the man lifts. Well, that was not supposed to happen. They're supposed to have us 3 more weeks to wire everything. They're giving us 3 more days to wire everything. So we had to rush order some things. And that's when I rush ordered it. They realized that I looked at the parts list and said, this shit don't work together. This doesn't work. Mm-hmm. So then they're like, oh, well, find one. I'm like, no. I didn't create this problem. Somewhere you let the client ask you questions. You said yes, and you added a couple extra parts in the bill without realizing the back end pieces need to get upgraded as well. And now you're like, but we already told them. I'm like, then you're going to have to tell them different. We have to be upfront with the client, and these are the things that happen. So I got very aggravated, especially because they also want to come back to the details with me. And I'm like, I don't want the details. Just tell me that it's done. Well, we need to order this. That's fine. I'll order whatever. I don't care. If we all want to get paid.
Yeah. But it got taken care of.
Yeah.
So
it does get escalate here a bit occasionally.
The lesson for that is just order everything up front. I mean, in a job that big, just order everything.
I've said that. Please save me from people trying to save me a couple dollars.
Exactly.
I'm like, look, cable doesn't expire.
It's true.
And
Yeah.
when we have to pay expediting fees on cable, then they're like, oh, I got to go do something on that day. I'm like, really? Well, that person happens to be in a truck right now, driving out an hour away to go pick the cable up.
Mhm.
I'm like, no, we're going to avoid the expediting fee. You can drive there.
Mhm.
That's how you're going to
Yeah.
solve it. So this afternoon, the person who maybe didn't order all of it is now driving to go get it to save expediting fees, because overnighting it would have been like $300 extra. I'm like, this is what you're doing this afternoon.
Yeah. Now, in his defense, a little bit, part of that was we needed that extra cable because they, in the middle of everything, they then added like 30 some odd,
Yes.
200-foot drops, but
30,
still
30 drawer drops got added to the project. So there's, I mean, like I said, it's a calamity of things.
yeah, but still,
yeah.
you know,
And when, yeah, raised me. I mean, the money's in the bank. I'm like, dude, the money's in the bank. Just go get the cable. Whatever. We're not trying to like, oh no, penny pinch this. I'm trying to float this project. It's the money's there. Go buy it. It's cable. Whatever. So
that's why we get deposits.
That's why we get deposits from stuff. Yeah, we actually. By the way, when you bid big projects, tier that out. So, you know, this project we're doing is up over 60,000 already, but we tiered it out into money in our pocket before we start working. If there's not at least a big, you know, 50%, and this is going to vary with how staged out the project is, because some construction projects, for example, are going to be billed in thirds.
Well, if nothing else, you have to get a deposit that's going to cover what you have to buy.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's just generally been my rule.
Yeah, you just got to do that.
A big portion of my parts are going to be covered because there's a huge amount of labor in this. You know, just in general, as you know, working in IT, majority of what we do is labor, not parts anyways.
Yeah.
You know, the box of cables aren't the most expensive parts. So, yeah. But that's...
Vincent, I'm sorry you can't find a quality cable guy who doesn't charge an arm and a leg. What do you define as an arm and a leg?
Yeah, because I tell you what, quality cable guys, they're expensive. We're expensive. But we've now built,
and we're not as expensive as some, really.
No, and we've built up a reputation area, so that's how we're getting more of these jobs, is our reputation for the work we do. But we're not cheap. We tell them that right away. They're like, well, can't you go pull? We have a company. They're like, I can't believe that you charge that. And I'm like, I can't believe you think I'm going to do it for 1/2 of my usual rate. But that's also,
Dexter Fishburne, arm and a leg usually equals quality.
Yeah.
Yes.
It is what it is. I've always used really high-end cabling people. I used to use another guy that I contracted before he moved out of state. His personal issues drove me crazy because normally I don't care. I don't care what you do personally. I'm a very like, do what you want on your time. I believe in the right to people to be stupid. I just don't be stupid within the realm of me. And
because as we've said, you can't fix stupid.
I can't.
You can bill it 120 an hour.
I can't fix stupid, but I can bill it. But yeah, when he moved, I was happy, and that's how we got Corey, which has been great. Corey's been with us. I can't believe, as we was looking at it, we had a job come up from 2013, and we're like, wow, Corey did that job too. So he's been here 5 years.
Ooh,
I know, longer than Marvin.
Yeah, well, I'm what, a year and change, so
yeah, but it's how it is. But, and you know, the bad cabling guys. So we have this company that happens to have some type of contract with a bunch of hotels up here. They're far away, so they want to use people here. We've fixed a couple small things for them because it was easy and it was down the street from us. But then they want us to do these cabling jobs, and they're like, they're not even paying 1/4 of what we want. But every time we've gone in there, we're part of the problem is it's just this giant mess of cables everywhere and stuff stacked on boxes. We're like, this is what happens when you pay someone 1/4 of what you want to give us. It's just a small amount of money. These are the people you get.
yeah. Go back and take a look at some of the videos that we've done. You see the finished product. Like, some of those are a work of art. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Some of those larger servers and jobs that Corey has run and the rest of the guys. I mean, it looks pretty when they're done. You know, and
the same thing goes with the high. If you're doing high-end websites, you know, you know what the couple $100 website guy looks like, and you know what a $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 website looks like. There's a very big difference there. And this is something we talk about with, you know, our LTS creative clients. They're always hesitant because they're like, okay, you're kind of pricey, but I'll try it. And then they're like, okay, we just had another meeting today. Another one of our clients, they want to spend more money with us because of the success. And this is one of those things that smart businesses get. And first, they use us. That makes them smart business.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the smartest thing you can do.
Smartest thing you can do is use us. But after that, it's that understanding that when you buy quality things, that everything flows smoother in your business. And I'll use an example of a mechanic shop that we have. the shop is so stinking clean. I should photograph you. You would think they just built the building. He's been in business for like 15 or 20 years, and you would think he just made the place. I mean, when you go to Matt's, that place is spotless. You walk into the front place, the glass block, the beautiful desk in there. You think you're walking into like a law office or something.
Yeah,
it does not look like
yeah.
an automotive place. And that floor, he's got the polished floor. They mop it every night when they're done working on cars. And he is not a cheap mechanic. He is my mechanic, though. And we do his IT. We do IT for several mechanics. But that's where I take my car.
But when something breaks, he fixes it, and he fixes it right. You know.
Yes. So, and that's the thing. He runs his business that way. When something goes wrong, he's like, Tom, put a new one in. That thing broke. Make a new one. We got cars to fix.
Yeah.
You know, there's not a big. He bought the I can't remember who makes it. Dell makes this like Dell. I didn't know Dell made this. He ordered this super expensive Dell, like the Tough Books. I didn't like, you can drop this thing off the top of a truck and it's fine. And he got the extra padding around it. And that's what he gives his guys to diagnose laptops, because they might fall. I ain't got time to replace it.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't know, whatever it costs, put it in.
They might fall.
Might fall off
true.
a car.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. You might forget and leave it on the fender when you throw that thing up in the air on the man lift or on the car lift, and whoops.
Yeah. So it's hard to, it's.
Somebody said that they hate a dirty shop. Mine is white. So my dad is a mechanic, and his garage was carpeted.
Yes. There are cutouts. Marvin's dad has cutouts in the foam where so when you slide the drawers open for his toolboxes, there's cutouts where each wrench goes.
Yeah. Each thing is labeled. And that's not for him. That's for other people. He knows exactly where it is. Top drawer or top box, drawer all the way to the left, third from the top, all the way. Like, you're like, oh, yep, that's where it was. But yeah, he would get carpet remnants and put those down on the floor of the garage. And then if it got oily or dirty or whatever, you roll it up, throw it away, and get another one.
I'll find a picture of something. I have pictures of his dad. One of his dads. His dad's like got trophies for building show cars at Autorama and things like that.
It's true.
So he's built some really cool stuff. The guy builds really, but it's the whole thing. It's a difference between the quality work and the kind of half-assery that you see out there.
And he wasn't the cheapest mechanic either.
No,
but it worked when he got done with it. You know.
Yeah.
So that's what you're paying for ultimately.
That's what you're paying for. Those are really important aspects of that. And it's hard getting those clients. It's hard building up those clients. I won't lie. There's no magic sauce to it. You got to build your reputation. You got to work at it. And then you have to deliver. I mean, that's right now why I get caught up in it. We're delivering on all the work we promised, and we make sure we absolutely document, deliver, polish it, and it is done. There's not any question when we're done with the project of that it's done right, it's documented right, and everything's working. Mm-hmm. We follow up with the client. All right, is everything here? And this is an example. So the reason I know about Corey being here in 2013. So there's an IT guy that runs a company, and in 2013 we installed a Unify system. I just can't believe we did that long ago. And the IT guy never changed the password and has also fallen off the planet somewhere. We don't know when they contracted us. We did it and we handed it off. Well, they don't know where their IT guy is anymore.
Oops.
Yeah. Yeah, no. He managed it for a while, but the good news, he didn't change the password. We keep all the documentation and we still have the passwords and we still have the data. And good news, the password still worked 5 years later, and we were able to upgrade their Unify to the latest version because our server crashed and had no backups. Because they lost all the settings on the Unify and everything else, but we were able to set them all back up.
Somebody wants to know what payroll system we use. We farm that out.
We farm that out. There are things I'm not good at.
And he wants to make sure that we all get paid so that we keep coming back.
I focus on technology things. I may be late on writing a check for them guys if I was responsible for it. Therefore, I know my shortcomings.
And then that's what it is.
And if you're not familiar with how things work here in the US, in a couple days comes time, and I'm happy that this time I just finished it yesterday. We have the most powerful agency ever. This agency has taken down mafias. This agency took down Al Capone.
Yeah. The FBI couldn't do it.
The FBI couldn't do it. No.
The Chicago police couldn't do it.
The Department of Justice couldn't take down Al Capone.
Couldn't get him.
The IRS.
The IRS got
nailed him.
The guy stood on the steps of the hotel and said, "I run a criminal organization."
Yes.
And the Justice Department couldn't get him, but he didn't pay his taxes. And guess why he went into jail?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, the IRS.
So in a couple of days, we all have to file our taxes here in the U.S. If you're smart, you've done it already. I'm not smart. I just made my appointment about 2 hours ago.
Yep.
to have mine done. So
yeah. So because of IRS regulations and the disastrous tax system we have, that there's nothing really positive I can say about it other than it ticks down. And when you think about that for a second, you have a guy announcing he's a criminal and they can't do anything about it. But the bean counters with the calculators go, but you didn't pay your taxes, therefore you're going to jail.
Yeah. See ya.
We can't put you away for killing, shooting, and murdering. But
it was also, though, cool about that is it was also the genius of that same department to say, yeah, we know you made the money illegally, but you still got to pay taxes on it.
Yeah. Matter of fact, if you want some amusement, look up marijuana and taxes and a couple other things. Oh, and stolen goods. Someone sent me some fun links. There are on the IRS's website about claiming things that you stole. And if you don't, you could also be in trouble with the IRS, not just for stealing the thing, but for not claiming income for stolen goods.
I assume that car you stole would be an asset. So yeah, you'd have to claim that.
Invoice Ninja is for money coming in, but not really money going out.
Whoa.
It has an expense tracking. Whoa, look at that. Awesome.
Wow.
That will help with what I owe the IRS.
That is
but I can't directly take money out of my business and give it to the IRS. I know. I have an accountant that I hire for that. I don't know. Oh, Swedish Corona.
Yeah, we need to know how much. We need to know what the exchange rate is on that.
Yeah, we have to do. That's.
But thank you. Thank you. Either
That's
way.
all. We'll buy hot sauce with that. So, yes. How much is it? $11.98. I'm excited.
$12. That's great. Cool. We appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Awesome. That is awesome. Thank
you very much. I believe that will get us a 3-pack of Gator hammock. So
that will. That is a 3-pack of Gator hammock.
Yeah,
we're excited about that.
That is one of our faves. I don't know if you saw it, but in the wiki yesterday, I was going through and putting like links to the stuff we buy frequently, and Gator hammock is one of the things listed in our wiki.
Oh,
with a link, so you can just hit it and go.
Oh, in the Amazon links.
Yeah.
Yeah, you said wiki links.
No, I'm sorry. In our wiki.
Oh, it's in our wiki now?
In our wiki, I put a list of like things that we frequently buy with links out to them. Yes. And one of the things that, because I'm going through and I was like, wow, we buy a lot of Gator hammock. So I put it in there as a thing we frequently buy.
Yeah.
So we can just hit that and link it real quick and order it.
I got to do an updated wiki video because we use the wiki a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a huge part of our thing. I want to do that. It's a busy thing and stuff like that. So I actually built the templates for a demo video and built a test-based client and everything else. So.
There's Hot Ones in our subscriptions. We did a Hot Ones video. Of course it is.
Of course it is. And look at what I tweeted the other day. I tweeted something about Hot Ones. So
yeah,
I retweeted Chris Evans. Someone photoshopped Zuckerberg and Evans. And Zuckerberg is sitting there. He's holding a hot wing, making a puzzle face. And Chris Evans is like, I got hot questions for you.
We said we were really quick before we sign off. We said we were going to talk about Zuckerberg. So
yes,
let's talk about Zuckerberg.
Yes.
It's fun to watch. I'm not going to lie.
So I figured out the real tragedy of Zuckerberg.
Okay.
How much did Facebook spend on lobbying money in 2017? So Facebook spent $11.5 million on lobbying in 2017.
Mm-hmm.
The flaw that Facebook committed was not stealing our data and things like that. We knew they were doing that. It was that they only spent $11 million buying congressmen. I know congressmen are cheap. But the economy's pretty good here right now, so you really got to grease them a little more. And you'll learn in the U.S., you're like, 11 million, it sounds like a lot of money to buy congressmen. No. That's how our system runs. Google is sometime. You wonder what, I know some people in Europe got the popcorn. They're just like, I'm waiting for you guys.
Yeah, that's good.
How does that work over there?
Yeah, it's coming.
Anyways, yeah, they only spent that much. That's how they ended up in front of a Senate committee. If you spend more on congressmen, you can do a lot of other things and not end up in front of a Senate committee.
That's true. Yeah.
Well, you will get grilled much less and everything else. Granted, 11 million did get him to not do it under oath, but
that's true. That's true. But even if he had, the answers he would have given would have completely confounded them anyway. What were you saying earlier? Like one of the senators asked him, "How many databases do you have?"
Yeah, how many databases do you have? And he's like, "What are you asking?" I mean, watch the highlight reel.
Yeah, it's worth it.
And it's the problem. Technology moves much faster than law. The problem a lot of times is these people do not have science backgrounds. They often, majority of the people who work in politics in the U.S., if I'm not mistaken, more than half of them are lawyers by trade and profession.
Yeah.
So, hey, thank you, Philip. Yeah. Oh, right. And Mark Geisher. Awesome. Oh. Thank you. People sending us money.
I can't rewind.
Yeah.
That is a setting. We'll have to check. Apparently, that setting is not.
What's that?
He said when I start, if I miss the beginning, I can't rewind. To see that is a setting you have to turn on and off DVR.
Oh, okay. I'll turn that on. Then.
It used to be set by default to on. I think now YouTube sets it to off.
Okay, I'll see what I can do to fix that inside there so you can roll it back.
But we did, yeah.
So I mean,
you're actually getting called out. Some guys are throwing some serious shade at you because you promised a wiki template video, and they are still waiting. So
I know. I tell you what, Saturday seems like a great day to do it because I am busy with clients tomorrow all day. So, well, one person hasn't emailed me back. If they don't email me back and they don't book tomorrow, I tentatively set them for 10. Maybe they're watching on here. The way that you book with me is you click and send money. I send him the invoice. The invoice is the way you confirm.
Mm-hmm.
So, because we do remote support for people, it's a setup for some stuff. And so as long as they send me the money, I will agree to it. I don't know because I don't even ask what time zone they're in, but they said they could do tomorrow morning. Anyways, back to a little bit before you guys kill me over the not doing the wiki template, which I will do really soon. I set it all up. I have tried to do that video and my phone rings. And by the way, maybe I'll cover this one day in more detail, but I'll let you guys know what actually happens here. I start doing videos, my phone starts ringing because it's during client time and things all happen. And then someone comes to my office or other staff members that work here come to my office. The time I really get things done is like, I don't know, midnight occasionally, or when I come in here at 6 a.m. and do things. That's the only time people don't bother me, but then I'm not always in the mood and I'm kind of tired and whatever. Yeah. I start upgrading or backing up something and I'm like, video.
Hey, the Alpha Nerd gave us $2. Woo! He admitted it. You are a cheap bastard.
I am.
He admitted it. He says he's a cheap bastard, but he wants hot sauce.
Yes. So back to Zuckerberg before we digress too far. So there's, and on a more serious note, I mean, yeah, they took data. It's the term I've heard used, I think best describes all these companies, is companies that rely on the ignorance of the user not to read the terms and conditions. They offer a free service and then trade for your data. And we're still learning what that data is worth. These are not concepts. These are not some 100-year-old tried and true business models that are easy to understand, easy for general consumers. Now, people who've grown up with technology and being online my whole life, these are concepts I don't have a problem with. I understand the trade I get for posting something on Facebook. Therefore, I'm also very careful. I understand the metadata being collected, and I think about where am I? I'm where my phone is at because it gives up location data. Where am I? Where my phone is at? Wink, wink. My phone's there, so I must be there. So you think about things differently. And I have a lot of friends who work in very high levels of security for different places. And this is just, because we're so self-aware, because we've grown up with the concepts and we understood the implications of technology. And all of us have wrote Cory Doctorow's book. If you haven't, read Cory Doctorow's book, Little Brother, so you can get a better understanding of it. In fact, just read everything that Cory Doctorow has ever written, because I have. And with the exception, I have not done his latest book yet. I've got it, but I haven't read it. On my to-do list. I'll be reading it soon. But those privacy concerns and things like that, because I'm so self-aware, I don't have the same concerns. But I also, because I deal with the general public and I see them all the time, I understand how they don't get it. And I don't think of them in any higher level, so to speak. I don't go, oh, I'm better because I know more than them. I just know differently. As a matter of fact, anytime tech people try to look down on people who don't know, sometimes I'm like, or especially when you're a developer, you're like, oh, they're too dumb to use my software. And I'm like, no, the goal is to write software that is usable by the average person. I don't look down my nose or make fun of them as the dumb user. I've never really taken that perspective on it. That's what's actually not taking that perspective is what's helped my success in IT. So if there's a little tidbit I can give you for how I rose to the top of a company being the IT director, do I employ people who think of that? Yeah, occasionally I have had staff that had problems of they just want to blame the user and it's an ID10T problem and things like that. I mean, granted, we're all going to joke around a little bit, poke fun, but overall, the goal is to always create systems that are very transparent so the users can use them. So I look at that as a perspective. All right, we have to do this. And one of the new clients we have, me and him hit it off because when I brought that up, he was questioning me in that way, and this is
Mhm.
the big company,
Mhm.
and I understood what he was getting at, and he understands the same thing. He goes, there's people who have an understanding of this, and those are the people I need to employ on the management side, and there's people who don't, and they stuff parts in boxes all day. And he goes, I don't look down on them. They're great. I pay them well. I give them benefits. They all have to do is stuff parts in boxes, and I have to come up with the most efficient, easy way for them, because they're not the people who think about most efficient, easy ways to do things.
Yeah.
So it's just this. So
Yeah.
back to the term I've heard applied a lot is surveillance capitalism, which by watching you, and this goes to Google, this goes to Facebook, your two biggest, consumers of information as a service to give you free services. There's lots of other sub companies that do it, Twitter and all them. But surveillance capitalism is probably the right term to use for that. And it's a new business model, and I don't think it's necessarily bad. I enjoy ads that are targeted at me. Why? Because I'd rather see an ad for something I want rather than an ad for something I don't want. And I understand that trade. And if I just, do not track, I can turn it off. I can open up a Tor browser. I can anonymize myself and use something else. So it's having that concept in there. And I understand that the users don't always have that concept, but that's where Zuckerberg, because he's a smart dude. And whether you agree with what he did or not, it's a different topic, but I won't downplay the fact that he's intelligent and that he did this. And I don't think he really maybe understood the scope of it or the backlash from it, but he's not going anywhere. People are like, oh, you can wait for the stock to tank. I'm like, yeah, so I can buy some of it. There's not a competitor directly at the scale that he's at. And it is what it is. I think this is raising more awareness, and I think more awareness is good. When I do my talks, I always preach awareness more than anything else. And there's people here asking privacy. Yes, I'll have no problem sharing ways you can be private and off the grid and offline. And something I can tell you even a little bit about myself is I take my paychecks, put part of it in the bank to pay bills. I don't have a personal credit card at all, none. I pay cash for everything. Have been doing it for over 15 years. It's been my policy. My business is all tracked, and thank you, government. But my stopping by Kroger's or things like that, if it's not a business legit expense, no one has to know what I buy. So I choose to pay cash. That's how I disconnect myself from it. I made a conscious decision to do those things many, many years ago, and that's how I do them.
It probably has a lot to do with what he is buying. Maybe.
I kind of have a no footprint personally. I have no listening. People say, oh, we'll see your home network. You would be completely disappointed. You will not find any Google things. You will not find any listening devices. You'll find that the phone, I have a charging dock over yonder, and I can turn the phone off when I don't want to be tracked. That's my personal life. That's different than my business life. We have toys and things here, but then we also lock down and keep our network secure. But we're aware of those devices, and the Amazon Dot is unplugged right now. We plug it in when we want to play stupid word games with it.
It's true. Yeah.
More than anything else. So it's just a lot of it on there.
Yeah.
You choose what type of stuff, blah, blah, blah. Hello from the U.S. Virgin Islands. Hello.
Oh, hey, greetings from Poland.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Well, we've been at this an hour.
Yeah. So we do have a couple more things to do.
Some things to do. So.
Yeah, it's simple. If you're free, you're the product. That's another good way to say
true.
it. We have some free pens if you stop by our office. And they have our phone number on it. Therefore, you're my advertising vehicle for free by me giving you free pens.
That's actually the old pen too.
We haven't given away the last of the old pens.
Yeah,
so
those are the old.
But
does it have our? Oh yeah, that still has our old address on it too.
Yeah, that's why it says our personal pens. But these are things, like I said, go through. I don't have a real, other than the jokes and things that I've been making about Facebook, I don't have a real strong dislike or hatred for it. I think a lot of these companies do it. I actually, in terms of the way, in the bigger picture of things, of what's really wrong economically, a bigger drain on society to me is that same thing applies to people. And hopefully none of you are this way. I'm not trying to put anyone down who does this, but the people who go, I'm going to go rent a couch. I'm going to pay a weekly for it. I'm going to rent a gaming system. And my friend was a manager. I didn't realize how severe that whole industry was. My friend was a manager for Rent-A-Center, is a big chain around here. And he was constantly repoing couches and things like that, and PlayStations. He had a guy that would rent the PlayStation. He would pay $100 because he had such bad credit. So he'd pay like $100 every 2 weeks for a PlayStation. He's like, dude, you can buy this after just a couple payments.
Right.
And then when he couldn't pay it, he would give it back to them and then go rent an Xbox. And he would rent them whenever the games came out for whichever platform. He'd just go back and forth, just paying rental fees and then struggling to pay the bills. And the same thing. People that want it now and stuff like that, they don't have a good concept of money. And these companies prey on people like that.
Sure do.
So those are to me much worse than Zuckerberg. They should, I don't know how to fix those problems. They concern me more than Zuckerberg and
That's
some
a
privacy
whole other
stuff.
deeper
So,
conversation to have.
but do look, I may post more memes on Twitter because I am
That's
laughing a
probably gonna
lot.
happen.
So
Yeah.
it is providing me entertainment. So I feel as though I'm getting value out of Zuckerberg. And
Absolutely.
I got a lot of likes for posting memes of him on Facebook. And I'm like, the irony, I can make fun of the guy that made the platform. Honestly, though, he's laughing all the way to the bank.
Of course. Well, what there was a statistic they gave while he was testifying before Congress, he made like $300 million or something. I mean, like,
yeah.
So Charlie, you said if you visit the U.S., you'll come say hello. Please come say hello. Stop by. Absolutely.
Because you probably have an Australian accent. So
you know what?
I always like that.
We may come to Australia and, we'll stop by and see you as long as you're not.
I hear there's like poisonous things.
There are so many things in Australia that will kill you. It's ridiculous. So I still want to go there, but
yeah.
But anyway, we should probably sign off because we have been at this an hour and we
Yes.
have other things to do. So,
yeah, I got a VM to fix.
a VM. I
Yeah.
thought you said a BM to fix. That's something
wow.
different.
That's something different. That's
Way
completely
different.
different. Way
So.
different. So
We'll see you next week.
see you next week.
Do all the things. Don't forget.
Do all the
Clickety, click, and
things. Click, like,
and-
subscribe. Oh, by the way, for those of you, as a few people have tried to call, it does kind of get filtered when you try to call me because I'm on the phone a lot. Please email me. I don't mind the emails as much. Just be concise. That I do ask that because, and also if you just send me, what do you think? Emails, I may give a funny reply to you. I mean, I'll throw that out there.
It may
Some
not-
people
You'll
like,
find out what he thinks. You just may not like it.
what do you think? And someone sent me a list of motherboards. I think they're motherboards. I don't know. I don't know how else to answer the question.
Yeah.
I lacked context other than I think they're motherboards. Send.
Yeah.
I am a smart ass, so
Yeah,
I don't.
true.
I mean, if I don't understand what the question is, but if you want to contract us for actual work, that we do, and we go back and forth, and we'll give
You may still
quotes on
get
things.
smart ass answers, but they'll at least be more helpful.
They're more helpful.
Yeah.
We've got plenty of testimonials. We've helped a lot of people with things like FreeNAS and all kinds of different network engineering setups. And we have other IT people we help. I mean, we have no problem doing any of those things. We have a nice remote support system. It's on our website. That's another thing. People said, hey, here's my TeamViewer. Can you just log in? And I'm like, no, we use ours. I don't use TeamViewer. So and that's on our website. Go read it on our website. We have a lot of information on there. We're also going to be doing a couple things that are coming up real soon. We're going to have clothing items. We have some funny sayings we're going to put on shirts and stuff, and we're going to have them for sale. So yeah.
So you can get some swag. You get some Lawrence Technology swag.
And thanks, Vince. Yes, we've done some work with Vince.
Yeah, and thank you again to everybody that threw some money our way today and who has ever done it. Thank you so much. We certainly appreciate that. Keep it coming. We will see you next week.
Yep, see you next week. Oh, and I'll see, just because they're in here real quick, I see somebody join. I do plan to do some live shows and stuff with people, but I literally been buried in so many business projects that I haven't had time. So it's coming. And so is the wiki thing.
Please do 3XL. Yeah, that's not a problem. I will make sure there are some big guy shirts in there. Don't worry about it.
Hey, if there's something we know big shirts. All right.
Oh, shush.
We talked to the person setting up our store today where he's like, yeah, one so-and-so kept running on mediums. I'm like, I don't know that we'll sell mediums.
Yeah,
I'm gonna put it out there. You know the industry we're in, right?
Yeah, I don't know. Medium.
All right. Have fun.
See ya.
Thanks.